Hi, guys, and welcome back to Web Piano Teacher Artist Series podcast. We are talking about Billy Joel's The Stranger album.
And doing the title track today.
Doing the title track, The Stranger. Shawn, take it away.
All right. Da 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 da. There you go. Na 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 na. Take it away. Bum ba da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 bum 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 ba da 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 da. Well, we all have a face that we hide away forever, and we take them out and show ourselves when everyone has gone. Some are satin, some are steel, some are silk and some are leather. They're the faces of the stranger, but we love to try them on. We all fall in love, but we disregard the danger. And we share so many secrets, there's some we never tell. Why were you so surprised that you never saw the stranger? Did you ever let your lover see the stranger in yourself? Don't be afraid to try again. Everyone goes off every now and then. Done it, why can't someone else? You should know by now, you've been there yourself. Once I used to believe I was such a great romancer, and I came home to a woman that I could not recognize. When I pressed her for a reason, she refused to even answer. It was then I felt the stranger kick me right between the eyes. We all fall in love, but we disregard the danger. But we share so many secrets, there's some we never tell. Why were you so surprised that you never saw the stranger? Did you ever let your lover see the stranger in yourself? Don't be afraid to try again. Everyone goes off every now and then. Done it, why can't someone else? You should know by now, you've been there yourself.
Nice work.
There we go. Ha! I made it through. That was my best take there.
It was.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, I kind of know the song, when we do the podcast, but I don't really know it. And I kind of, in the morning of it, really work on it and I kind of peak. So I peaked on this one. That was fun.
How does it feel? This is where Billy Joel, he's this amazing composer, amazing lyric writer, but he also has amazing range.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh, yeah. Amazing. So, and this doesn't even get that high for him. It's really in the middle. And he's got that lower wah, 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 wah. I mean, that's down in this area where most men's voices are, but he's got that, that tough guy sound like I talk about. Well, we all want to know, it's got that sound. And then he has that middle part. Na, 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 That's a totally different.
I mean, that's in my range.
And he's just soaring, you know. Normally people can't do both of those things.
I know. And much less have the guts to put it in one song.
Oh, gosh.
I will admit, the first time I heard this, I wasn't as familiar with this song. I mean, I kind of knew the melody. I mean, it was recognizable, but I didn't really know it as well as I knew some of his other songs. Mm-hmm. And I didn't, love it at first. I was kind of like, why is this the title track? There's so much better songs on this album. But then I spent, I really didn't like it.
Had you heard it as much as the others, or did you really?
No,
okay.
I hadn't heard it as much as the others.
Okay.
Now, I spent a lot more time with the song because we had to. And now I really feel like it's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And I think this goes to say, this is why Billy Joel songs are maybe turn people off at first. And then at the same time, it's why people love his songs so much, because there's so much in the song. Uh-huh. There's so much in this song.
Yeah.
And even his delivery of it, vocally, at first kind of put me off, because you're like, why is he doing this that we hide away forever? You know what I mean? At first, listen, it's kind of cheesy.
But now you can't not sing along when you hear it.
Now I cannot sing along. And it's now I feel like I understand the song as a whole. It's this is why I don't like classical music, because you have to actually spend time listening to it. You have to spend time deciphering what's going on in the music.
Well, you can. You don't have to, but yeah, you can. It's there for you to do that, yeah.
I don't know. I felt like that's what happened with this song.
Yeah. Well, there are many layers. There's 3 different personalities in this song to me. And it kind of goes along. I just thought of this morning that, the mask, because we have different masks we wear for whatever, situation we're in sometimes, but I feel like the beginning, I just think of Billy Joel walking along in a black and white movie, and he's got a trench coat on, and
Casablanca,
he's smoking a cigarette or something, and he's whistling, just kind of walking by. So you have that part of him, And
he can whistle, man.
Yeah.
I can't really
I could do this if it weren't for the... I can't hit that high E on the whistle. I can on the other parts. And it's hard to whistle on the mic because it stops your air,
Well, he did it.
Yeah, well, he had a different... He probably had a mic that was far away. Anyway, so I almost could do it. I just can't hit that high E. The whistling, yeah, I mean, that's cool. To have whistling in a song.
There's a story behind that.
Okay.
The producer... Well, Billy Joel came into recording this and wanted it to be... His vision for that part was have a wind instrument of some kind. Probably a clarinet.
I can hear a clarinet.
And... he was trying to explain to the producer what he wanted.
Yeah.
And he was like, it'll be like this. And then he whistled the part. And the guy was like, absolutely not. We don't need a wind instrument. You're just going to whistle it. And
that was it.
There it was.
Yeah. So you have that whole, sound there. Yeah. Like you said, makes you have that Casablanca feel. And then you come in with this. So you have that guitar riff that to me is just as hooky as any of the maybe the most hooky part, And I wondered if he wrote that riff or did the guitar player or how that process
I feel
went.
like he probably did, just like he came with that clarinet part, or woodwind instrument part, and then with the input of somebody else. Was able to be like, no, you got to whistle.
Yeah.
And it does. It's like this old Spencer Tracy movie, smoke coming around down the alley.
And then this driving dun dun E minor 7, then very powerful that driving quarter note in it. And it's just completely different than the first part. And of course the way he, there's no nice whistling. There's we all,
Yeah.
some leather. Yeah. So very punched in the lyrics
that's a Billy Joel signature thing.
Yeah.
He can change how he sounds singing it, but he always hits those consonants.
And in the same song, I mean, we can all say, oh, he sings this song different. He transforms himself. He becomes this song. But he does different things in this one song.
Yes.
You know? So you get to the third part. Don't be afraid to try again. Nah. So you have this other sound. Na, 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 na. Ooh-hoo. So it's almost kind of Broadway sounding to me. But he changes his voice there, and he matches what this feel is.
So, see, that was something that got me right at first.
Yeah.
Like,
I know you like that part.
I do like that part. And I like the other part. I just at first wasn't sure if I liked them together in one song.
Yeah.
But I do now. But yeah, to me, sometimes I can be like humming in my head the verse part.
Yeah.
And then other times I'll be humming in my head the chorus part as if I didn't have the same song stuck in my head. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a genius.
I know this song has everything in it. And this part, very Broadway saying, and we love the woo-hoo. He does that all the time, by the way, that chord progression.
What is that chord progression?
Oh, what is that? Minor. I'll figure it out later. But it's a minor 7 to a major 7. We're getting to 4. See, we want to go. We want to get there, but a cool way to get there is. Ooh-hoo.
Yeah.
But you listen for his music, you'll always hear that da da, and you can always sing ooh-hoo to it. It's how you know it.
Yeah.
It comes up. If you can go ooh-hoo, then he's using it. Which, other people have used it, but he seems to really put it in really cool places.
Well, because his songs need a lot of transitions.
Yeah. And look at the transition of this. So you're in this...
Or his songs have a lot of transitions. He needs to have a lot of bridges between those.
So you're in this cool, flowy part, Broadway sounding. And then how does he get back?
So cool.
I was too scared to try that when I was playing it, to do there's a D natural in there. And I didn't want to do it like I did there and miss it. But that's a jazzy chord. Now, one chord, bum, bum, and then he's back.
Yeah.
So that's pretty ingenious to have one chord, and then we're back.
I mean, we talk about him being a musical genius.
Yeah, he really is.
Yes,
he really is on the what he did. Tops.
Here's what I think about him, though. He is not just extremely gifted and intelligent on the musical side.
Yeah,
he's just a genuinely extremely intelligent, knowledge-seeking person.
Yeah, I didn't know that about him. I kind of knew that, but then when I started overhearing the interviews you were listening to, I was like, oh, wow, he's really well-read. He knows more history than probably many of the professors that taught me in college.
So he was a high school dropout. He did not graduate high school.
Yeah.
And he has zero, care that he was a high school dropout. How some people might carry that, ashamed of it or worried that they could never, that is not for me. I didn't graduate high school. He was not that way. In fact, from his...
So you never heard him regret that he...
No, he said the only regret he had was that it made his mom sad.
Yeah. Sure.
It bothered him that it bothered her. Genuinely bothered him that it bothered her. And then I'm trying to think how long ago or long after he didn't graduate high school that his high school came back and gave him a diploma.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
An honorary diploma.
But
that's neat.
He did not graduate high school because he was not intelligent. In fact, I think he didn't graduate high school because he was too intelligent.
Yeah.
And he was so extremely well-read and just had a genuine desire and love. Even then, for history, Greek mythology, he read it all, even as a kid. He read it all. And so he'd show up to his high school history class and know more than the teacher, genuinely, and have more passion for whatever subject maybe than the teacher. And just felt like it was a waste of his time. And again, he was unilaterally focused on becoming a famous musician.
Yeah.
And so if it did not, if something got in the way of that, or if it wasn't going to aid that end for him,
it was pointless.
It was pointless to him. And I totally understand.
Yeah. Yeah. I loved hearing, I saw as part of a thing where he went to a high school, or no, a college, and a music college, and was talking about Beethoven and was talking about music, classical music, not his music. And he was kind of going through and making his own observations, what Beethoven probably thought here, and it was just such a fresh perspective after someone being in those stuffy,
dry
history classes talking. You know, Beethoven was a real person who struggled and who had flaws, and just hearing how Billy would go through it, because he didn't have that other stuff that was forced down his throat, that this is the way it was. No, he got to form his own conclusions from it. And it was just so refreshing to hear him talk about it. And I thought, he doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to go to a music college and give a seminar about classical music, but I guess that was just a passion, something he wanted to do. And that really made me respect him.
Yes.
And on so many levels.
And it helps me to understand his songwriting, like the lyrics, because they're not surface level. He's not just telling a story from start to finish. Even this song. So this song, somebody smarter than me figured this out, and I just then looked it up.
Okay.
But so there was like a German philosopher way back,
all right,
Carl Jung, who wrote about the shadow self. So this song is Billy Joel's homage to that philosophical idea of the shadow man.
Did he corroborate that? That he said that he felt like that's what it was? Or
here's, every time you look at an interview of Billy Joel and somebody like points out the great effort or genius, like trying to tell him like, hey, normal people don't know this information, and then you made it into a hit song.
Okay.
He kind of brushes it off like,
yeah.
It's not humility, I don't think, and it's just like, okay. I mean, I don't think he has any emotion attached to it. Like, he doesn't elevate himself.
Yeah.
It's just, I just am like, wow, he's such a cool guy.
I always liked whenever someone was, they always want to know what the music was about. What are you thinking? What are you doing? And they would, Howard Stern or somebody would give this long thing, and he would go, well, I never thought of that. I don't know. He's totally open to what someone else would think about what, instead of all caught him up in himself.
Yeah. Well, he said that he has lived anything but an unexamined life.
Yeah.
But what he's discovered, he's kept private. But then I think he thinks he's kept it private.
Yeah.
But then you have a song like this, and then his backstory. So again, his marriage was falling apart with his first wife, Elizabeth.
You can hear that in this song, right?
Yeah. I mean, and also, I don't know her. I don't know Billy Joel either.
Yeah.
So, but a lot of the book that I read, he says nice things about her.
Yeah.
He's a very gracious person. I don't think he ever harbors like unforgiveness.
Yeah.
But he was treated terrible by her and her brother and the company that they built. And
yeah,
I mean, Billy Joel said their family, it was like some Greek tragedy, like the way they treated each other. Anyway, but you kind of read all of that and you're like, okay, now I'm hearing this song and I think, oh, it's obviously about her.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, the shadow man is more about your blind spots.
Okay.
Right? So it's about, you think you see so clearly, but then you actually can't see clearly because of this shadow man that's within you. Yeah. That is your blind spot to knowing whether you're truly right or knowing whether you're truly wrong.
Yeah. Okay, that's deep.
So we always think you have this blind spot for knowing if you're wrong. People who are stubborn and they just won't admit that they're wrong. Mm-hmm. But this is like, oh, you actually don't know if you're ever truly right. You actually don't know if you're ever truly wrong. Isn't that deep? But then here it is in this song that's so catchy and singable.
Oh yeah, yeah. And you even have the two, like I said, the two personalities or three personalities.
And like then you think, oh, it's about his fraying relationship with his ex-wife or soon-to-be ex-wife, which it was. He admitted that their relationship gave him a ton of material for this album. But then it's like that and then you think it must also be reflective of himself too.
Yeah.
Which I just find fascinating. And like you said, there is a particular interview of him on Howard Stern, and it's I don't even know, 2000, late 2000s.
It's pretty old. Yeah,
I don't know. And we probably will get into it because it's about one of the songs on this album.
Yeah.
But Howard Stern asks him a very poignant question, and Billy Joel again, he's like, "Look, man, I don't really examine these things.
Yeah.
This is just what came out." And there's like the surface level, and then there's like a deeper level, which I don't think you can make assumptions about people unless you have experienced it to some level and have an understanding of your, from yourself and your own experience. Anyway,
I think when it's an indicator when people are so interested in what their artist was thinking or what, how they came up with this, it just the fact that they're so interested in that shows how much their music infiltrates the person, how much it becomes a part of them when they're so concerned with what, who cares, but they do care. What was Billy thinking when he wrote this? What was, because I want to know, I'm curious. I'm not like, I have to know.
I don't think he was necessarily writing solely about himself. I think he gets inspiration from his own life.
Yeah.
Everybody does. But this goes back to him being so widely read.
Yeah.
Across all genres, history, even like he was Greek mythology. I mean, you'll just be reading an interview about him and he'll like drop something like, oh, you don't want to be like the Oracle of Delphi and da-da-da-da. Which it's like, unless you've had to read or you're into Greek mythology, you don't know what that is. But he just knows what that is.
And he doesn't necessarily want everyone to know that that's what he put in it, right? It's the song.
Yeah.
So cool.
Can we talk about the structure of the song musically?
All right.
What he's doing. How does it relate to classical pieces, or do you have any
Let's see. Yes, I have notes that I can't read. Well, I just, like I mentioned, the three personalities of the song, and the complex chord structure in the last part, the flowy part, but it's really kind of rhapsodic to me. It has these different parts that really don't seem to go together by themselves. Like if I played each part for you and said, "Oh, that's nice," and then I said, "Now there's this other part that goes," I would, how are you going to fit that together? And then this other part. How they all fit together, but he manages to make it work. So to me, there's the genius in this song. These three different sections, which stand alone, they're all very good by themselves, but then somehow he connected them into one song, and they also, the lyrics and everything tell about this hidden part, the mask. Because in your mask, you're showing this face that's not really what's inside, and so depending on which section you think is the mask, but it just shows. We all are that way to some degree. Let's think about if we went to a certain situation, we might act differently, or we will act differently, especially if it's a stressful thing, and so it's just, again, it goes back to human nature. And I think none of his lyrics are ever nonsensical. They never don't mean anything. You can pick some of these rock artists and their lyrics don't mean anything. They're just putting words in to make the song.
The Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah. And others. But his lyrics always mean something. They're never just throwaway lyrics.
And I feel like he gets an idea across, a thought across completely start you know what I mean? Like he gets the complete thought
Yeah.
in the song, which is hard to do without it sounding like stupid. You know what I
Yes.
mean? This song too, it kind of threw me off. The way this is very like theatrical, I guess, but the way he bookends the song.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true. I didn't. That's probably what you were trying to get me to say, and I forgot.
Maybe.
Yeah, the end. Yeah, we go back to the end. So this is a classical device where you start with something, and then you have, you know, what you would call the like development, you know, the middle section of the song, but then you always come back, and you end with what you began with. But then he does it in a mirror image, right? Because when you start, it's piano, and then he has the whistling, but at the end he has the whistling, and then he has the piano. So it's a mirror image from beginning to end, and I don't think that's by accident. I think
know there's moments in where I'm like, you know how people will be like, if he was right in front of you, what would you ask him?
Yeah.
And then you're going through all these like questions. You're like, oh, these sound so generic. What, everybody probably asks him that. And then it's like genuinely now I'm like, I want to ask him and be like, this song, like it's a mirror image of itself.
Yeah.
Did you do that on purpose? Did it just happen?
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, cool. This is a mirror image. Or
Yeah.
the thought process that his mind maybe goes through, and there probably is not a real explanation for it.
Yeah, I just feel like composers who somebody who is a composer, not just a songwriter, likes symmetry, likes form. And when you have form in music, you always have a return of the original idea. Maybe a little bit differently, which he does. He plays it a little bit differently, but you begin and end the same, and then you have this turmoil in the middle, but then it resolves itself to the way it started. So
I feel like his personality type, he probably, like that probably just brings him such like, to end the song so perfectly as it began.
Yeah, and it just comes out. When you're a composer, it just comes out. I don't feel like he's saying, okay, I'm going to end this the way I begin it. I just think it's the way a composer does. A lot of it's inspiration, and they're automatically doing these things without having to think, I'm going to do this. You know, when you study form in music, you're saying, okay, here's this part, and we look at it from the outside. But when you're a composer and it's coming out of you, symmetry just happens because, you know, it's form, it's beauty. You know, when you build something, there's symmetry.
Yeah.
And symmetry looks beautiful, and even in music.
All right. Why don't you play so you don't have to sing? You can just.
Yes. Which personality we want to end with?
I don't care.
The shadow.